Polling officer, I will handle mark copy of the electoral roll, and he will also do the identification of the elector. At first, the voters who come to vote will enter the polling room with a token having his serial number. By checking the token by the polling officer 1, he will check the serial number in the marked copy and read out loud the name and serial number. An ID card brought by the elector like EPIC card or the card granted by the Election Commission will identify the person. If the polling agent 1 has doubt of the voter ID, send the voter to the presiding officer for further inquiry and checking the identification of the voter. If the person is correct, the place where the voter's name is identified in a marked copy box will be cross-marked. And if she is a female, then it will be circled at the serial number. For the convenience of sending the 2 hours report, it will have male, female and transgender separately in the tally sheet. If we tick mark and place it, then it is easy to the report send. If the voter that comes to vote has wrong identification and complains or challenges, then the presiding officer will act under the challenge voter procedure. And if the elector enters is wrong person means impersonation, then the presiding officer will send the voter to the police along with a written application. The second polling officer will be in charge of indelible ink. The second polling officer will check the voter that has verified by the polling officer 1 that there is ink or not at the left-hand forefinger. If there is no ink, then with the help of brush, the indelible ink will be applied on the voter's left-hand forefinger. The ink will be applied from top of the nail to the bottom of the first joint to the left forefinger by line. If there is no forefinger, then it will be applied to the remaining finger. And if there is no finger at the left-hand side, then it will be applied at the right-hand forefinger. If there is also no forefinger at the right hand, then it will be applied at the remaining finger. If it is repole or face pole, then we will neglect the marked finger or left hand and will apply it at the middle finger of left hand. If there is no finger on left and right hand, then it will apply at the extremity or stump of the finger of left hand or right hand. If the elector has already marked at the forefinger and do not allowed to check and does not allow to apply the ink, then he will not be allowed to vote. The second polling officer will also handle the register of voters. The voter information details that are verified by the polling officer 1 will be written on the register of voters. How to fill up the voters register of voters has been shown in other video. Some of the points to be mentioned is that the sign and thumb impression should be taken from the voter. If they don't give, then they are not allowed to vote. In this time, thumb impression should be for the left-hand side. This time, we are mentioning is left-hand thumb impression. If the thumb of left is not there, then we have to take from right thumb impression. If there is no thumb on both sides, then it will take from the forefinger. Again, if there is no forefinger, then it will take from the remaining fingers. If there is no finger from left hand, then we will take it from the remaining finger of right hand. If there is no finger on both sides, then under election conduct of rules, a companion can come. At this time, the thumb impression or the sign will be taken from the companion. Second polling officer, after filling the register of voter slip will be given to the elector. Third polling officer will sit near the second polling officer. He will be in charge of the control unit. The voter slip given by the second polling officer will check and will send the voter according to the serial number and the voting compartment. The thing to be careful of is that the third polling officer should check the forefingers of the elector if the ink is applied. If found to be lesser ink or not inked properly, has to be applied again and can cast the vote. The voter slip given by the second polling officer, he will receive it and will be tagged serial-wise. By the serial number, he will press the ballot button and the elector who come to vote will vote according to the serial. At time of casting the vote, important point that would like to mention is, if the voter brings the EPIC card and those do not have names on the marked copy, then the voter is not allowed to vote. Voting is not allowed at a polling station if postal ballot An election duty certificate EDC is marked at Mark Copy. Voters that come to vote can have many cases like, for example, some electors in ASD lists and some elector complain about the voting machine for not matching. And some elector, after finishing fill up of forms and sign and does not want to vote, they refuse to vote. This type of case have already shown to different part of the video. EVM model of M2 was present VSDU, which is Visual Status Display Unit. At this time, the polling officer 4 handles the VSDU. But for the model M3 in EVM, VVPAT has no VSDU as the display is in the control unit. So, polling officer 4, while doing the duty for vote, will help the presiding officer and other polling officers on duty of vote.